Hey everyone, for millions of years, events have been taking place that have sculpted the surface of the planet. This has resulted in countless strange and unexpected formations that you wouldn't believe actually could happen. So, here are the top 15 most astonishing geographical discoveries. Let's start with number 15, the Silfra Rift in Iceland. So the planet's surface is split up into tectonic plates that are continuously moving, but there aren't that many places where you can see this in person. The Silfra Rift in Iceland's Thingvellir National Park is one of them, and lies in the mid-Atlantic ridge, where the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates meet and drift apart. The tectonic activity in this area has created a rift filled with some of the clearest water on Earth, offering visibility that can exceed more than 328 feet or about 100 meters. It is one of the few places on Earth where you can dive directly between the two continental plates, and it's formed in such a way that divers can actually touch both the North American and the Eurasian plates at the same time. The rift itself is divided into four main sections: Silfra Big Crack, Silfra Hall, Silfra Cathedral, and Silfra Lagoon, with each of these sections offering different experiences, from the narrow passageways of the Big Crack to the vast open spaces of the cathedral. That underwater visibility takes things to another level too, and it's the result of where the water comes from. The rift is filled with meltwater from a nearby glacier. As the water travels through underground lava fields over decades, it undergoes natural filtration, and this results in incredibly pure and clear water. Divers and snorkelers in the rift are therefore treated to a surreal sensation as they glide through the area. It is a strangely barren place too, because of the cold water temperatures that generally range between 35 and 39 degrees Fahrenheit, and this limits the type of organisms that can thrive. It is though home to a variety of algae, particularly the vibrant troll hair variety, and this further adds to the strange sensation of swimming through this underwater landscape. Number 14. Sahara Egypt. The Sahara also known as the White Desert, is one of the most unusual natural wonders in Egypt. It's in the Farafra Depression within the vast Western Desert, and unexpectedly is a landscape covered with white limestone formations, which stand in sharp contrast to the typical sandy color of the surrounding desert. Getting its name from these chalky rock structures, which were formed as the remains of marine life that lived in the region when it was covered by a prehistoric sea millions of years ago. Over time, the sea receded and the desert expanded, and wind and sand erosion carved these rocks into the shapes that you see today. One of the most famous formations is the Chicken and Mushroom Rock, which looks like a giant mushroom with a smaller rock on top of it that kind of looks like a chicken. Interestingly, these structures provide some much-needed shade too, and have actually led to the developments of surprisingly vibrant ecosystems, with plenty of animals that have adapted to the conditions, like the fennec foxes and large number of bird species and reptiles. The White Desert itself is part of the wider Farafra Depression, which is one of the most isolated and least known areas of Egypt. This isolation has preserved its beauty and allowed the local Bedouin communities to maintain their traditional way of life. Visitors to the region have the chance to meet these communities and learn about their customs, crafts, and strategies that they use to survive in what to the rest of us seems like an extremely challenging environment. What makes it even stranger is that it's very close to the Black Desert, which is almost the complete opposite, with volcanic hills and dark-colored landscapes, giving a stark contrast to the White Desert. Together, these two deserts showcase the diversity of Egypt's natural landscapes, far beyond what you'd normally think of in the Nile Valley and the ancient monuments. Number 13. Meteor Crater, Arizona. The Meteor Crater, which is also known as the Barringer Crater, is the best preserved impact crater on Earth. Found 37 miles or 60 kilometers to the east of Flagstaff, Arizona, the huge depression was created about 50,000 years ago when a nickel-iron meteorite estimated to be about 160 feet or 48 meters across collided with the Earth. The resulting explosion was equivalent to about 10 megatons of TNT and left a crater that's about 3/4 of a mile or 1.2 kilometers in diameter and 560 feet or 171 meters deep. Unlike most other craters that have been eroded by natural forces over time, the arid climate of the Arizona desert has helped maintain the crater's features. Visitors can clearly see the rim of the crater, which rises about 150 feet or 46 meters above the surrounding plain, and this gives an incredible view of the natural landmark like nothing else you'll see. The crater is named after Daniel Barringer, who was a mining engineer and one of the first to realize that it was formed by a meteorite. In the early 20th century, he conducted research and drilling at the site, hoping to find the remains of the meteorite. Although he never found the main body of the object, his work provided major evidence that proved it was created by an impact. And today, the Barringer Crater Company, still owned by his descendants, manages this site. This crater has been a hugely important place for scientific research, and the study of it has greatly advanced our understanding of impact events and their effects on our planet. It's also been used as a training ground for astronauts, such as during the 1960s when Apollo astronauts trained there to prepare for the lunar surface, learning to identify impact features and how to collect geological samples. The visitor center here now teaches about the history and importance of the site, with exhibits that include displays on the formation of the crater, the properties of meteorites, and the role of impact events in Earth's history. One of the most interesting things on display is the Hulsinger meteorite, which is the largest fragment of the original impactor that's ever been found, and itself weighs over 1,400 pounds or 635 kilograms. Number 12. Veryovkina Cave, Georgia. Explorers are continuously discovering new cave networks that carve deep into the Earth's surface, but the current record for the deepest cave of all can be found in the country of Georgia. Known as Veryovkina Cave, it's located on the Arabica Massif on the western Caucasus mountain range. This cave system descends to a depth of over 7,200 feet, or over 2,200 meters, and has become an important place of study for speleologists and those wanting to further understand the depths of the crust. It was first discovered in the 1960s by Soviet cave explorers, but remained relatively unknown until more recently. A series of comprehensive explorations found out just how deep and complex it actually is. Named after Alexander Veryovkin, who was a famed Soviet cave explorer, it's been mainly Russian and Ukrainian caving teams who have charted the formation. The cave's entrance is located at an altitude of just over 7,400 feet, or about 2,200 meters above sea level, which adds an extra level of difficulty in accessing it in the first place. Early expeditions were, of course, limited by the technology of the time, but modern gear has allowed cavers to reach much greater depths. The cave structure includes several notable parts, such as the Babylon section, which has large passages, and the Nekubishevskaya Gallery, which features huge formations of stalactites and stalagmites. One of the most challenging and trickiest aspects exploring here is its vertical shafts. The initial descent includes a 105-foot drop known as the entrance pit, followed by a series of deeper shafts, including one which plunges over 500 feet. These vertical drops require precise rope work and careful planning to ensure the safety of the explorers, who are then met with narrow passageways and parts that are completely submerged, which are tough tests even for the most experienced of cavers. Despite the extreme conditions, life finds a way to go on in the darkness, with researchers having discovered various species of invertebrates that have adapted to the cave's environment, such as a species of spider, beetles, and other arthropods that haven't yet been found anywhere else on Earth. Number 11. The Giant's Causeway in Ireland. The Giant's Causeway, which is on the northeast coast of Northern Ireland in County Antrim, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the most iconic natural wonders in the world. It is a stunning formation that's made up of around 40,000 interlocking basalt columns, and was created by an ancient volcanic eruption around 60 million years ago. These columns, which are mainly hexagonal in shape, have formed an unusual landscape that's inspired myths and attracted visitors for centuries. The legend associated with the Giant's Causeway is deeply rooted in Irish folklore. According to the myth, the columns are the remnants of a causeway built by the giant Finn MacCool to cross the Northern Channel and fight his Scottish rival Benadonner. When Finn saw the enormous size of Benadonner, he retreated, and his wife Una disguised him as a baby. When Benadonner saw the baby and imagined how large its father must be, he fled back to Scotland, destroying the causeway behind him in fear. Well, in truth though, the Giant's Causeway is a reminder of the powerful forces that shape our planet. The basalt columns were formed during the Paleogene period, when intense volcanic activity caused molten basalt to flow towards the surface. As the lava cooled rapidly, it contracted and fractured into these hexagonal shapes seen today. The precise geometry of the columns, with some reaching heights of up to 39 feet or about 12 meters, creates a natural mosaic that is visually stunning. The area is rich in biodiversity too, from various plant and animal species that have adapted to this unusual coastal environment, from seabirds such as fulmars and razorbills soaring through the skies above, to rock pools and crevices beneath your feet that are home to a variety of marine life. It truly is a special place to visit. Number 10. Reed Flute Cave in China. There are countless stunning features across China, but one that's not so well known about is the Reed Flute Cave. It's also known as Ludiyan, which is a natural limestone cave in the Guangxi province. It's known for its collection of stalactites, stalagmites, and other rock formations. It's actually been an attraction, mainly for locals, for over 1,000 years, and its name comes from the lush reeds that grow outside the cave, and which were historically used to make flutes. The cave extends for about 787 feet or 240 meters into the earth and features a series of winding passages and large chambers that are lit with multicolored lights. The cave's formations, which have been shaped over millions of years by the gradual deposit of calcium carbonate from dripping water, are a great example of the slow but relentless power of nature. Visitors can see a wide range of different structures, including pillars, curtains, and stalactites, each with unique shapes and sizes. The standout part of the Reed Flute Cave is its main chamber, which is known as the Crystal Palace of the Dragon King. This vast hall can hold up to 1,000 people, is filled with countless stalactites and stalagmites that create a stunning setting. The chamber's centerpiece is a massive stone column that appears to support the entire ceiling, and the colorful lighting placed throughout the cave highlights the intricate details of these formations. The Reed Flute Cave has also become linked with a number of legends and myths. According to the local folklore, it was once a home of mythical creatures, including dragons and other spirits, who would occasionally venture out and affect the surrounding landscape. In modern times, the cave was officially open to the public in the 1950s, and since then has gone on to welcome millions of people from around the world. Now, it's increasingly being featured in travel guides and documentaries, and it's become one of the most popular natural attractions in the country. And because of this, it's further been developed with pathways and viewing platforms, with the hope that they'll minimize the impact of large numbers of people on the cave. Number 9. The Valley of the Moon in Argentina. The Valley of the Moon, or Valle de la Luna, is a stunning geological site that's located in a provincial park in San Juan province of Argentina. This surreal landscape covers an area of over 150,000 acres, and it's really known for its unique rock formations, desert terrain, and a treasure trove of fossils. The Valley of the Moon comes from the fact that it's exactly what you'd expect to find on our nearest neighbor in the solar system, with eroded rock formations that have been sculpted by millions of years of wind and water, and have left a series of natural structures that look like the moon's surface. The varied colors of the rocks, ranging from reds and yellows to grays and whites, complete that sense that it's an otherworldly place. Beyond the way that it looks, the provincial park is an important place from a scientific research perspective too. It's one of the few places in the world where nearly all the stages of the Triassic period, which occurred between 250 to 200 million years ago, are represented in the layers of rock. From around the park, there's been lots of finds that have helped us understand the prehistoric life of the Triassic period. Among these are fossils of early dinosaurs, including the Aeoraptor, one of the oldest known dinosaurs, and Herrerasaurus, a frightening carnivorous dinosaur. The region's importance was made official in 2000 when it was designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, with the hope that this will increase the research and preservation of the site. Guided tours are available, providing an opportunity to explore the park's features and learn about its geological significance, with the best time to visit being during the early morning or late afternoon, when the angle of the sun casts shadows across the landscape, highlighting textures and colors of the rocks. Park's visitor center includes a small museum that displays some of the fossils discovered in the area, along with exhibits explaining the geological history of the region, and despite its remote location, it's becoming an increasingly popular destination. Number 8. The Reshot structure in Mauritania. The Reshot structure is also known as the Eye of the Sahara. It's an incredible formation located in the Sahara Desert in Mauritania that no one even knew was there until it was first seen from space. At around 25 miles or 40 kilometers in diameter, it's got a unique bullseye appearance with concentric rings radiating outwards, and it stands out against the otherwise uninteresting desert landscape. At first, it was thought to be an impact crater caused by a meteorite, and the idea was based on its circular shape and the presence of high-pressure minerals that can be formed by impacts. However, further studies revealed that it's not the result of a meteorite strike at all, but it's instead a deeply eroded geologic dome. This dome, which is made up of various types of rock, has been shaped by millions of years of erosion, which has stripped away the upper layers to reveal the underlying structure. The feature is believed to be around 100 million years old, dating back to the Cretaceous period, and it was likely formed by volcanic activity, which pushed up the layers of sedimentary rock. Over time, erosion carved out the circular pattern we see today. The layers are composed of rocks such as limestone, sandstone, and quartzite, each ring representing a different geological period. The central area contains rocks that are significantly older than those of the outer rings, and these have provided a lot of data about the geological process that's shaped the Sahara over millions of years. It's also been a landmark for desert travelers for centuries, with prominent and unusual shapes that made it a natural navigation aid long before it was seen from space. It was during the start of the space age, however, that the Reshot structure gained international fame with its distinctive shape. In recent years, it's become a popular tourist destination for travelers and geologists who want to further explore its unique features and unravel the secrets it holds. This site offers opportunities for scientific research and educational tourism, with visitors learning about geology, erosion, and the history of the Sahara. Moving on to number 7, El Zacaton Sinkhole in Mexico. The El Zacaton sinkhole in Mexico is one of the world's most impressive and deepest underwater sinkholes. It's part of the Zacaton system, which includes a large number of sinkholes and thermal springs, but El Zacaton stands out as the deepest of them all, with a diameter of about 381 feet or 116 meters, and a depth of around 1,100 feet or 339 meters. The name El Zacaton comes from the floating islands of zacate grass that drift on the surface of the sinkhole. These grassy mats add a different visual element to the sinkhole, and the surrounding area is part of the karst landscape, which is made up of soluble rock such as limestone, which has been shaped over millions of years by processes which have created sinkholes, caves, and underground rivers. El Zacaton has become really interesting from a scientific perspective, though, because its geological, hydrological, and biological uniqueness. Geologically, it provides an excellent example of a cenote, a type of sinkhole formed by the collapse of a limestone bedrock, exposing groundwater underneath. The water temperature is relatively warm, ranging from 86 to 93 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 30 to 34 degrees Celsius, which is unusual for most sinkholes, and is thought to be because of geothermal heating. Another interesting side to El Zacaton is its underwater cave system. In 2007, a robotic submersible named Depth-X was used by NASA and other research institutions to explore and map the sinkhole's areas. Depth-X successfully reached the bottom of El Zacaton, providing detailed maps and valuable data about the structure. Biologically, El Zacaton is home to a unique ecosystem that thrives in its isolated and nutrient-rich environment. Microbial life forms, some of which have evolved to survive in such extreme environments, can be found here and are of particular interest to scientists studying the origins and adaptability of life. Number 6. The Chocolate Hills in the Philippines. The Chocolate Hills in the Bohol province of the Philippines are one of the most picturesque natural landmarks in the country. It's a geological formation that's made up of at least 1,200 conical hills spread over an area of more than 19 square miles, and it gets its name because the hills have a brown appearance during the dry season, when the grass covering them turns a chocolatey color. The origins of these features have been interesting to geologists for many years, and we're still not fully sure how it's formed. The leading theory, however, is that the hills are the result of weathering of marine limestone, which dates back to the Pliocene and Pleistocene epochs, about 2 to 5 million years ago. The hills were formed by the uplift of coral deposits and then the subsequent action of rainwater and erosion. Over time, the coral formations were worn down, leaving the distinct conical shapes we see. The hills generally range in height from 98 to 164 feet, or about 30 to 50 meters, but there are some hills as tall as 390 feet, or about 120 meters. During the rainy season, the grass covering the hills is lush and green, giving the landscape a completely different appearance from the dry season when they turn brown. Local legends and folklore also have their own theories about the hills, with one popular legend telling the story of two feuding giants who threw rocks and boulders at each other for days. Eventually, they made peace and left the area, but the stones they had thrown remained, forming the Chocolate Hills. Having now been declared the Philippines' third national geological monument, the Chocolate Hills have become one of the most important tourist attractions in the country. And if you're planning to go, they're best viewed from the Chocolate Hills complex in Carmen, which offers a panoramic view of the surrounding landscape. Number 5. Mono Lake in California. Mono Lake, which can be found in California's eastern Sierra region, is one of North America's oldest and most unusual natural wonders. Formed at least 760,000 years ago, it's an ancient saline lake that covers an area of about 65 square miles, or about 168 square kilometers. Its unique ecosystem, geological features, and rich history have made Mono Lake a popular destination for scientists to research and for tourists looking for a tranquil retreat. It is around 2.5 times saltier than the ocean, and it has a pH of around 10, making its waters extremely alkaline. These conditions are the result of the lake's lack of an outlet, so while water flows into Mono Lake from streams and springs, it can only leave through evaporation, which causes salts and minerals to accumulate over thousands of years. The lake is also home to a few hardy species that have adapted to its conditions, most importantly the brine shrimp and alkali flies. These organisms thrive in the salty waters and provide plentiful food sources for the millions of migratory birds that fly past. And over 80 species of birds, including eared grebes, California gulls, and Wilson's pharaohs, that rely on Mono Lake as a critical stopover during the long distance that they travel. In the 20th century, the lake found itself at the center of a major environmental controversy. In 1941, the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power began diverting water from Mono Lake's tributary streams to meet the growing city's water demands. This diversion led to a significant drop in the lake's water level, exposing more tufa flowers, increasing salinity, and threatening the lake's ecosystem. In response, the Mono Lake Committee was formed in 1978 to advocate for the lake's protection. Their efforts, along with legal battles, eventually resulted in a landmark decision by the California State Water Resources Control Board in 1994 to restore the lake's water levels by reducing water diversions. But it is possible the damage has already been done. Today, the visitors can explore Mono Basin's scenic area, managed by the U.S. Forest Service, which includes information centers, hiking trails, and opportunities for birdwatching, photography, and kayaking. And hopefully, it's enough now being done to preserve it for future generations. Number 4. The Great Rift Valley in Southeast Africa. The Great Rift Valley is a huge geological feature that stretches 3,700 miles or 6,000 kilometers from the Red Sea in the Middle East down through eastern Africa to Mozambique. It is one of the most significant rift systems in the world. It's been formed by tectonic activity over many millions of years. It is actually made up of two main branches, the Eastern Rift Valley, also known as the Gregory Rift, and the Western Rift Valley, or the Albertine Rift, and these are branches that are separated by the elevated region known as the East African Plateau. The valley passes through several countries including Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Zambia, Malawi, and Mozambique. Each segment of the rift offers unique geological features and diverse ecosystems, making it a region of major scientific interest and natural beauty. Throughout the valley, there's a series of deep lakes, volcanic mountains, and extensive plains. Some of the world's deepest and oldest lakes are found within the rift, including Lake Tanganyika and Lake Malawi, with these lakes not only being geologically significant but also ecologically rich, hosting a variety of species of fish and other aquatic life. The Great Rift Valley is also a hugely important place for anthropologists and paleontologists, with the region often referred to as the cradle of humankind because of the number of hominid fossils that have been discovered there and shown us so much about human evolution. This diversity of habitats sustains a wide range of wildlife, including the most famous African species such as elephants, lions, giraffes, and countless birds. It is quite simply one of the most important features on the planet, and one that's played a vital role in our own existence. Who knows, if there hadn't been a Great Rift Valley, humans may not have become what we are today. Number 3. The Cave of Crystals in Mexico. With such extreme temperatures and pressures, it's so far proven almost impossible for us to explore and understand what lies deep beneath our feet in the Earth's crust. But some minds and experiments have revealed a truly bizarre environment that could make us completely rethink how we view our planet. One of the most surprising discoveries that's so far been made is the Cueva de los Cristales, or the Cave of the Crystals, which is in the Nika mine in Chihuahua, Mexico. It was discovered in the year 2000. The cave is nearly 980 feet below the surface and contains stunning crystal formations that can reach lengths of up to 39 feet and weigh as much as 55 tons. For millions of years, the cave was filled with hydrothermal fluids that are rich in minerals. Now, the temperatures within the cave remain stable at around 136 degrees Fahrenheit or 58 degrees Celsius, with nearly 100% humidity. This provided the ideal environment for the growth of the selenite crystals. The environment in there, as a result, is incredibly hostile to humans due to its extreme heat and humidity. Without proper protective gear, it is impossible to go into the cave for more than a few minutes. Researchers and explorers entering the cave must wear specifically designed suits equipped with cooling systems. The mine itself is a working lead, zinc, and silver mine, and the discovery of the cave was purely by accident. Miners breached the cave while excavating new tunnels, but immediately saw the importance of their find, and the cave has since been a subject of fascination for geologists and mineralogists around the world. Despite its scientific importance, the Cave of the Crystals is a fragile and delicate environment. The crystals are extremely sensitive to changes in temperature and humidity, and even the presence of humans can cause damage. Efforts are ongoing to preserve the cave and its crystals for future generations, while allowing scientists to continue their research. As technology improves, our ability to look within the planet's crust is becoming better and better, and it's possible there's a whole new world down there that we're about to discover. Number 2. The Shilin Stone Forest in Yunnan, China. The Shilin Stone Forest, located in the Yunnan province in China, is one of the world's most stunning natural landscapes. It covers an area of over 190 square miles or 500 square kilometers. It's a place that's famous for its towering limestone formations that resemble a forest made of stone. It all dates back to over 270 million years to the Permian period, when during this time the area was covered by a shallow sea. Over millions of years, tectonic movements caused the seafloor to rise, and this lifted the limestone to the surface. The forces of wind, rain, and flowing water were sculpting the limestone into the pillars and peaks that we see today, which were further altered by the process of karstification, where acidic water dissolves the calcium carbonate in the limestone. Formations here take on various shapes, including human figures, animals, and even mythical creatures, inspiring local legends and folklore. One of the most famous formations in the Shilin forest is the Ashima stone, that according to local legend is named after a beautiful maiden named Ashima, who turned into stone after being forbidden from marrying her lover. It's now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It was recognized for its karst landscapes, which are among the most well-developed in the world. The site attracts millions of tourists every year, looking for the chance to explore the paths and viewing platforms, allowing them to appreciate the formations up close and personal. The Chinese government has therefore implemented measures to protect this site from environmental degradation and over-tourism, maintaining a delicate balance between allowing the public access and preserving the integrity of this natural wonder. Number 1. The Great Blue Hole in Belize. Much of our oceans remains largely unexplored, and it seems that the more that we learn, the more surprising things become. The Great Blue Hole, which is located off the coast of Belize, is a great example of this. It's one of the most interesting features that's so far been discovered. It's near the center of Lighthouse Reef, which is a small atoll that's around 43 miles from the mainland, and is a giant marine sinkhole that measures around 984 feet or 300 meters in diameter and reaches depths of over 400 feet or 120 meters. The formation of this Great Blue Hole dates back to the last ice age, around 14,000 years ago. During this period, sea levels were significantly lower, and the area now occupied by the Blue Hole was a large limestone cave system. The Great Blue Hole became known around the world thanks to the work of legendary French oceanographer Jacques Cousteau, who declared it one of the top 10 dive sites in the world in 1971. Cousteau brought his ship, the Calypso, to explore the depths and created documentaries showcasing the breathtaking beauty and significance of the site. His explorations revealed fascinating stalactites at the depth of around 131 feet or 40 meters, which are the evidence of the sinkhole's former life as a dry cave system. The surrounding Lighthouse Reef is part of the Belize Barrier Reef Reserve System. This is the second largest coral reef system in the world after the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. This large reef system is home to an incredible diversity of marine species, including over 500 species of fish, countless types of coral, and various other marine organisms. Believe it or not, this type of formation is ideal to study to learn more about the effects of climate change and sea level rises. The formations within the hull provide valuable information about this historical sea level and climatic conditions. Even though it's been around for tens of thousands of years, it's certainly vulnerable to what's happening in modern times, from the impacts of climate change and coral bleaching to the damage caused by tourists. Fortunately, there's a great commitment to conserving the blue hole and the surrounding reef, so hopefully many more generations to come will be able to study and enjoy it in the same way that we've been able to. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you next time. Thank you to our channel members.